Adam Kovacevich is with us tonight, founder and CEO of Chamber of Progress, a center-left tech industry policy coalition. Adam, we keep hearing about one layoff after the next. These are high flyers, people with skills and degrees. What's happening?
Well, I think what's happening is that when the pandemic first hit and we were all working from home and shopping on Instacart and on Amazon, that actually a lot of tech firms did quite well. It was a little bit of a counter-cyclical situation where the pandemic actually really shot a lot of these businesses in the arm, and so they just kept hiring and hiring and hiring. And there was really an open question as to whether or not that growth would continue. And if you're too small and the growth does continue, that's a problem for a business. If you're too big and the growth doesn't continue, then you're forced to lay people off. And I think that's what's happened. The growth has stopped. More people have gone back to the office. They're going back to more of a normal routine. Some of those pandemic habits have changed. And I think really the companies, particularly the big companies, found themselves having a too big of a workforce.
If you're in another industry, are you safe, or we keep hearing a recession's coming? Is your pink slip just going to be delayed?
I think the reality is that, a lot of these tech jobs do support other jobs, right? So if you are a pretty well compensated tech industry employee, you're used to spending that money in restaurants, on services, maybe home renovations, and we may see a bit of a ripple effect. I also think this is a reminder that we can't take U.S. tech job growth for granted. It's not always going to be the case, and we probably need more of a national strategy to make sure that the U.S. remains a leader in tech jobs and that we continue growing those tech jobs again.
In the tech industry, are we seeing anyone exempt? Like if you're a brilliant engineer or you're, mid to upper level management and you can code or something, is anyone exempt?
Well, I think it depends on how companies approach their hiring, right? So I think as tech companies saw more and more demand for their services over the last 2 years, they really hired aggressively in all parts of their business. They needed more people to maintain services and software. They needed more people to sell that software. They needed more marketing people, right? They needed then more HR people to support all those new employees. And so I think that what you've seen with most of the cuts that the big companies have made is that they're not really confined to a single function. They're really, they're across the board. And so you just see, experienced engineers, for example, being laid off. They'll probably, particularly technical talent like that, will in some cases have perhaps a little bit easier time finding their next role. Of course, it's unfortunate for anybody to be facing a layoff. It's a difficult situation. But one hopes that the other parts of the economy can absorb some of these laid off employees.
Adam, am I hear you saying that while the tech sector is robust, it's actually a pretty small sliver of the overall American economic pie, and it doesn't perfectly map onto what your job prospects are over the next year if you work in another industry?
Well, I think that, the tech sector really has been almost America's crown jewel in terms of the economy, right? We have most all of the world's leading technology services are American-based. And I think people may forget that sometimes, right? That the world really runs on Google search and iPhones and Facebook services and Microsoft services. And so these services are some of America's, most important exports. And so when we see these kind of job losses, that I think is also, I think, reflection of kind of the popularity of our services in the world as well.
Finally, after a small, let's hope, recession, which a lot of people are predicting, do you anticipate that the economy in general, but more specifically tech sector, back on track?
I think so. I think the fact is, this is a sector that's gone through contraction before. With the dot-com bust from the early 2000s, and I think rebuilt itself. There's always in technology some new emerging technology that really represents a lot of possibility. For example, climate tech, electrification, electric vehicles. AI, artificial intelligence. I think when the dust settles, there will be whole new types of companies, including a bunch of startups, that really take advantage of this kind of pivot moment to start something new. And you'll see people become experts in completely new fields. And so, I think that the smart move will be looking ahead, seeing what's coming next and see how can I, as an employee, kind of get ahead and become an expert in the thing that's going to be hot a year from now.
No doubt it's hardship for people being laid off, but as you say, maybe there are little green shoots that will spring up over the next few months and years. Let's hope for that. Adam Kovacevich, thank you so much.
Thank you.